You're barefoot, hungry, freezing, no phone, no fire, no map, no mercy. Now imagine you've just heard something move in the tall grass, not an animal, but another human, and they don't want to help you, they want what you have. Your only weapon, a sharpened stick and a pounding heart. Still think you'd survive the Stone Age? Because survival back then wasn't a weekend hike with a GoPro. It was waking up every morning, unsure if it would be your last. And the truth is, most of us wouldn't last a single day. Picture this. You open your eyes to a grey sky. Your breath fogs in the cold morning air. You're not in your bed. You're curled on damp ground. Your ribs sore from sleeping on rocks. There's no house, no clothes, but a crude wrap of animal hide. And the only sound is wind whistling through tall grass and something moving in it. This is your life now, the Stone Age wasn't some romanticized time of tribal drums and cave art. It was brutal, raw, and unforgiving. You didn't wake up wondering what to wear. You woke up wondering if your shelter had held through the night, if your fire had died, if your scent had attracted something with teeth. There were no grocery stores, no backpacks, no second chances. Every meal had to be earned through hunting, foraging, or scavenging. And if you failed to find food, you didn't skip a snack, you starved. The terrain was merciless. From arid deserts to icy mountain passes, early humans didn't get to choose the weather. Torrential rain could drown your camp. Snow could bury your tracks, and the sun, it could blister your skin in hours. Water had to be found, not just located, but judged. Was it clean? Or was it laced with bacteria that would kill you slower, but just as surely, as a predator's fangs? And speaking of predators, this wasn't a world built for people. It was a world built for lions, leopards, saber-toothed cats, and scavenging hyenas. You weren't at the top of the food chain. You were a soft-bodied, slow-moving creature with a brain that was just barely catching up. There were no clear paths. No signs. You navigated by memory, by the stars, if you were lucky enough to live long enough to learn them. If not, you wandered. And wandering meant exposure. Exposure meant death. Let's be honest, the wild doesn't care about your survival in the Stone Age. Nature wasn't something you camped in for fun. It was a constant force trying to erase you. Take predators. We don't just mean the big cats and bears, though they were certainly out there. We're talking about a list of things that were bigger, faster, and meaner than you could imagine. Smilodon, the saber-toothed cat, could crush a human skull with its bite. Arctidus, the short-faced bear, stood taller than any man and could run as fast as a horse. Packs of dire wolves didn't just chase, they flanked, surrounded, and struck with terrifying coordination. And if you thought climbing trees was a solution, good luck avoiding Host's eagle. A bird of prey so massive it targeted children from the sky. But predators weren't your only problem. Parasites, infections, cold, disease. A simple cut could end your life. A bad root could poison you. And there were no antibiotics, no gauze, no doctors. Even the land wanted you dead. A hidden pit could snap your ankle. A storm could wash you into a river. A cave you took shelter in could become your tomb. And then there were other humans. Yes, your own species was one of the greatest threats of all. Competition for food and territory made strangers dangerous. If another group found your camp, they might kill you just for your flint tools. Or worse, they might follow you, wait until nightfall, and attack while you slept. Your only defenses: crude weapons, fire if you were lucky, and your instincts, the kind that whisper, "Don't move," even when you're frozen in fear. And that's the point. Survival back then didn't depend on dominance. It depended on caution, fear, paranoia, the idea that everything might be out to get you, because in the Stone Age, it probably was. There were no breaks in the Stone Age, no weekends, no comfort. Survival was full-time, every hour, every breath. Even when the sun rose, it didn't bring safety, just a new list of threats. Hunger came next, and feeding yourself wasn't about choosing between breakfast options. It was about walking miles on aching legs, eyes scanning constantly for anything edible. Berries, insects, a small animal's trail, And once you found it, you still had to get it. Imagine trying to kill a rabbit with nothing but a sharpened stick, or trapping a bird without wire, bait, or knowledge. Most hunts ended in failure, and every failure brought you closer to collapse. Even water, the thing we take for granted, came with risk. Was it flowing or still? Were animals drinking from it? Could it be contaminated with waste or rotting corpses? A single wrong gulp could lead to dysentery, a slow, painful death in a place where help didn't exist. And after hours of searching, scraping, and surviving, came night. The moment the sun dipped below the horizon, everything changed. Shadows grew long, the temperature dropped. Sounds grew sharper, and you had to decide risk building a fire and attracting attention, or shiver in the dark and pray nothing smelled your sweat. Sleeping wasn't peaceful. It was fragmented, fear-based. You laid close to others, backs to each other, one ear open to the dark. That's not just a poetic image, it's a truth backed by anthropology. Our ancestors evolved to sleep in shifts, always leaving someone, alert eyes flickering through the gloom. This wasn't a life of freedom, it was a life of endurance. Of making it one more day, one more night, a single mistake, a bad judgment, a wrong path, a loud cough could undo everything. So if you think you could survive the Stone Age, ask yourself, how long can you stay alert? Because in that world, even blinking too long could cost your life. Now imagine this. You're starving, not just I skipped breakfast hungry, but full body, vision blurring, muscle aching, starvation. You haven't eaten in 2 days. Your stomach stopped growling hours ago. Now, it's just hollow. Your legs shake with every step, but stopping isn't an option. You need meat, or you die. You spot it, a deer, maybe an antelope? It's fast, skittish, one wrong move, and it's gone. You don't have a bow, or traps, just a hand-carved spear that's more hope than weapon. And your plan, sprint after it, barefoot across thorns, rocks, and mud, because that's what early humans did. They ran. Not faster than the animal, but longer. This technique was called persistence hunting. It wasn't flashy, it wasn't heroic, it was brutal, slow, and exhausting. You chased your prey for hours, not to catch it in a sprint, but to outlast it, to wear it down, wait for it to stumble from exhaustion, then move in for the kill. And that's if nothing went wrong. If another predator didn't get there first, if your prey didn't escape into terrain you couldn't follow, if your body didn't fail you from dehydration, sunstroke, or injury. Early humans didn't have protein shakes, or medical kits, or GPS. They had guts, grit, and desperation. And when they finally brought something down, the work wasn't over. Now they had to butcher it quickly before scavengers came. Strip meat from bone, carry what they could, and abandon the rest, because if you hung around too long, you might become the next meal. This wasn't sport, it wasn't glory, it was survival. On foot, on instinct, on fear, and if you slipped, if your spear broke, or your footing failed, the hunted became the hunted again. Let's flip the perspective. This time, you're the one being hunted, and not by a saber-toothed tiger, not by a dire wolf, by another human. You're alone near the edge of your territory, maybe gathering food or checking traps. The air is quiet, too quiet. You get that feeling, that primal itch between your shoulders. You turn your head. Nothing but your heart's racing anyway. Then you hear it. A crunch, a footstep, and then you see it. Not an animal, a man, covered in dirt, face marked with ash, eyes locked on you, and he's not alone. 2 more rise from the brush, each holding sharpened stone weapons. They're not here to say hello. In the Stone Age, tribes didn't sign treaties. They didn't negotiate for land. Resources were scarce. And sometimes, the quickest way to survive was to take what someone else had. Rival humans were the most dangerous predators of all. They knew your weaknesses. They knew your habits. And unlike animals, they didn't just kill for hunger, they killed for revenge. Fear, competition, or nothing more than greed. Ambushes were common. A traveler alone. Easy target. A family caught unaware. wiped out, even camps were attacked. In the dead of night, fires extinguished, screams silenced. And what they didn't take, they destroyed. Tools smashed, food burned, shelter ruined. Why? Because letting you survive meant risking retaliation. So they made sure you couldn't recover. Surviving against animals was hard, but surviving your own kind, that was war. Fought with sticks, stones, and pure violence. And there were no rules, no mercy. You didn't win by being stronger. You won by being smarter, faster, more ruthless, and that's what makes the Stone Age so terrifying. You weren't just surviving nature. You were surviving human nature. Let's flip the perspective. This time, you're the one being hunted, and not by a saber-toothed tiger, not by a direwolf, by another human. You're alone near the edge of your territory, maybe gathering food or checking traps. The air is quiet. Too quiet, you get that feeling, that primal itch between your shoulders. You turn your head, nothing, but your heart's racing anyway. Then you hear it, a crunch, a footstep, and then you see it. Not an animal, a man covered in dirt, face marked with ash, eyes locked on you, and he's not alone. Two more rise from the brush, each holding sharpened stone weapons. They're not here to say hello. In the Stone Age, tribes didn't sign treaties. They didn't negotiate for land. Resources were scarce, and sometimes, the quickest way to survive was to take what someone else had. Rival humans were the most dangerous predators of all. They knew your weaknesses. They knew your habits. And unlike animals, they didn't just kill for hunger, they killed for revenge. Fear, competition, or nothing more than greed. Ambushes were common. A traveler alone, easy target. A family caught unaware, wiped out. Even camps were attacked. In the dead of night, fires extinguished, screams silenced. And what they didn't take, they destroyed. Tools smashed, food burned, shelter ruined. Why? Because letting you survive meant risking retaliation. So they made sure you couldn't recover. Surviving against animals was hard, but surviving your own kind, that was war. Fought with sticks, stones, and pure violence. And there were no rules, no mercy. You didn't win by being stronger. You won by being smarter, faster, more ruthless. And that's what makes the Stone Age so terrifying. You weren't just surviving nature, you were surviving human nature. You've made it through this journey, imagining the world as it was, not as we want to believe it was. The predators were real. The violence was relentless, and survival. It wasn't about muscle or weapons, it was about instinct, fear, and the ability to adapt faster than you could bleed. So the next time you romanticize the Stone Age, picture this: no map, no fire, no allies, only you, and the feeling that something is watching you from the dark. Still think you'd survive. If this made you breathe a little deeper, you're not alone. We all carry the ghosts of survival inside us. So Dash, what ancient instinct still lives in you? Drop a comment below. I want to hear what gives you that primal chill. And if you want more brutally honest deep dives into our forgotten past, hit that subscribe button, and let's keep digging. Until next time, stay human, stay alert, stay curious.